Bienvenidos! Welcome to Spain on a Fork. In today's episode, we're going to do something extraordinary. We're making a no-knead, no-yeast homemade bread with olive oil and herbs. Guys, this is possibly the easiest homemade bread recipe that you will find. It's seriously foolproof, but the flavors of this bread are gonna completely blow away. But the best part about this deal is that it's made with the most basic pantry staples, like the ones I told you to stock up on in this video right here, guys. We're talking no special equipment, no tricky baking skills. Let's dive right in. I'm gonna begin by grabbing 2 cups of all-purpose flour and adding it into a large bowl. You don't need to use any fancy flour here, just the standard all-purpose kind. Then I'm going to add in a generous 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Make sure the ingredients that you are using are as fresh as possible. And 1 teaspoon of fine sea salt. Now the dried herbs I'm going to use to flavor this bread is some rosemary, thyme, and parsley. You can use whatever dried herbs or spices you want here, but the combination of these 3 give this bread a beautiful Mediterranean flavor. I'm going to add in half a tablespoon of each of the dried herbs. Once I've added all my herbs, I'm going to start mixing this all together. That way all these ingredients are evenly divided. This is possibly the most important step when you're making this homemade bread. You want that baking powder and these seasonings to be evenly distributed through all the flour mixture. Once the flour mixture is well mixed, I'm going to add in 1 1/4 cups of cold water and 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. And once again, I'm going to start mixing this together until all these ingredients are well combined. Now the dough we're making here is not going to be a very stiff dough, but this is not going to be a batter either. It's going to be right in between. It's so important to just mix this together. That way all the ingredients are evenly divided. And the most important step here, guys, is just make sure that all these ingredients come together. Once everything's well combined, you want to mix this for another 1 to 2 minutes. Since this is a quick bread and we're not using yeast, the texture of the bread is going to be more like a cake. If we mix it for another 1 to 2 minutes, it's going to help develop some of those gluten strands in the flour, which is going to give this bread more of a traditional texture once it's baked. For the next step, I'm going to grab a baking pan. The size of this one is 9 inches by 5.5 inches. I'm going to drizzle in a little extra virgin olive oil. And I'm going to brush the olive oil all over the inside of the baking pan. Again, guys, this is a very important step. That way when we're done baking our bread, it's not stuck to the pan. Once your pan's well greased, add the mixture from the bowl into the pan. And make sure everything's evenly divided throughout the pan. This mixture is kind of sticky, so just give it your best shot for everything to be in a single layer. Alright, let's start baking our bread. I'm going to add it into a preheated oven. Very important to preheat your oven for about 20 minutes before you add the baking pan in there. I have this in the bake only option, 190 degrees Celsius, which is about 375 degrees Fahrenheit. It's been about 55 minutes since I added the baking pan into the oven, and this homemade bread looks like it's perfectly baked. Now every oven heats differently, so it might take you 50 minutes or 1 hour. This one looks perfectly done. I'm going to take it out of the oven. And you can always tell when your bread is done. Just insert a toothpick in there. And if it comes out cleanly, it's ready to go. I'm going to remove this from the bread pan. And look how easily this came out. The importance of greasing your pan correctly. I'm going to transfer it into a wire rack and let it sit here for about 15 minutes. This is a pretty important step. You want to let it cool down, let it settle. That way when you cut the bread, it doesn't fall apart. Okay guys, our homemade bread, no knead, no yeast is done with the olive oil and the herbs. Let me tell you, the aromas in the kitchen right now are just insanely delicious with all those herbs. Now is the time for the moment of truth. Let's cut this bread open and see what it looks like inside. Seriously guys, this could not have come out more perfect. Let's give it a try and see how it tastes. Here we go. Oh, it's bread. Who doesn't like bread? Oh, a big bite. The texture of the bread is right on the money. Like I told you guys, it's more like a cake texture than a yeast bread. But if you mix it around for that extra minute to 2 minutes, it's like right in between. Beautiful texture to the bread. So easy to put together, guys. And then those herbs, wow. Just, I don't know what to say. It is homemade bread done in about an hour. It took me 55 minutes in my oven and about 5 minutes to put all that stuff together, guys. Incredible homemade bread. If you're going to the grocery store and they're out of bread, make this stuff at home. The most basic ingredients, super easy to put together. If you enjoyed today's video, hit that like button, leave me a comment below, and if you're not subscribed, smash that subscribe button. Till the next time, hasta luego. And on the last note, guys, because I think I'm gonna eat this whole loaf of bread by myself. Hey, I'm on lockdown, cut me a break. I love dipping this stuff. Got a little bit of olive oil here, extra virgin olive oil, a little sea salt, black pepper, and some romero, rosemary. Look at this, dip it in there. Wow, that is absolutely delicious. Love you guys.